people, it's been a bit since the last time I recorded. Maybe it hasn't been that long for you because I'm trying to be more consistent, so hopefully by the time this is up, I've actually set up a regular sort of routine and have some backlog of videos, so let's hope for that. I'll talk a bit more about why I have been absent for the past few months in another video, in a more chill out, just chatty video, but today we're doing something really fun, and it's the first time I do something like this in a video, so it's exciting. Let's talk a bit more about what we're gonna do in this video. Etchrlab has came in contact with me and has offered me to try some of their workshops. So they have a platform now which is called Etchr Studios, I believe. Let me check. Etchr Studios, and they have like mini workshops about watercolor wash and stuff like that. I'm actually checking it out at the moment while I record. So I did a quick swipe through it when they contacted me, obviously, but I wanted to record more of the first impressions I have. So I didn't really check it thoroughly. I want to do that with you guys. I have access to 3 free mini workshops. They gave me a code for that. I'm gonna pick and choose first. I don't know what I'm gonna choose. Also, this is gonna be on another video, but Etchr also sent me 2 beautiful sketchbooks and a watercolor palette that I'm actually gonna be reviewing and unboxing on another video. That's probably gonna go up first before this one. So it's gonna be on the channel when you're watching this. So check it out if you want to. And I'm gonna be using the same supplies here. Alrighty, so I just had a quick look through the website. I've been just quickly checking, wanting to get a feel of what the workshops look like. Like, the page is really cool because it has different levels. It has some free access workshops that seem to be like YouTube videos and stuff, instructional too. So that's a really good resource if you don't have the money to invest just yet. Then there's these mini workshops, and from what I've seen, all of them seem to be for 95 euros, which is around $5-6. And this is pretty affordable too if you're on a budget. Etchrlab has given me a code for you to use to get a free workshop. So use the code Patricia with a link in the description to get your free workshop and test it out for yourself. I've already seen one that's got my attention, but honestly there's a lot there. One of the things that I've observed is that they're very specific. So this is good and bad. If you were looking to learn about watercolors, maybe these are way too specific. But I've also seen that there's a beginner's level tab, so probably there's more basic techniques videos. These seem more like painting light with watercolor and stuff like that, which is really useful, don't get me wrong, especially the painting light and stuff like that. Painting a whale in watercolors, I've never been too fond of videos and tutorials like that. I don't feel like it teaches that much, because really if you know how to paint something in watercolors, you'll know how to paint a whale with watercolors with a reference. I'm not so sure about those type of videos, and you'll probably see me avoiding them. I'm gonna be completely honest here, so that's just my opinion. I've never liked videos like that and tutorials like that. I remember seeing a few back when I started and I felt like they didn't teach me anything. This is different for everyone, so maybe for you it will. Maybe you're really looking forward to paint sea animals or animals in general, and things like that will give you specific tips. I don't know, I'm gonna have a hard time deciding. I'm gonna take some time to pick it up and I'll get back to you in a bit. Okay, hi again guys. So I picked the 3 and I'm gonna tell you a bit about each of them before I actually take them. And 2 of them are more educational and one of them is more laid back. So I know I said I usually don't like workshops like let's paint a whale in watercolors or let's paint a wolf in watercolors, and I really don't like those sort of videos, and it felt really silly for me to pick this one. But I've picked a workshop that is actually about painting mushrooms. It's called Mushrooms with Mixed Media. I have a specific reason for have picked this workshop, and it's not exactly because I want to learn how to paint mushrooms. I found it, I sort of like the style. I like mushrooms. I'm the kind of person that has always loved mushrooms in paintings and stuff, but never really stops to paint them. I've only paint them a couple of times. I've been thinking for a while that I want to sit down and paint some of the mushrooms I have sketched in my sketchbook, but I thought it will be a good session, maybe a day that I don't feel like thinking too much, of just chilling out, putting on the workshop in the background and follow along. It had really nice reviews. Yeah, about the other 2. The other 2 are more instructional. So the first one is called Big Ideas from Tiny Words with Wash. I picked a wash one. And just so to vary a bit, I love painting with wash. I have a very specific thing when I paint with wash. Actually, I took this one especially because I love the illustrations. So there's a few illustrations over there that are really, really pretty, and I like the style in the circle. They feel very whimsical. Again, I'm not hoping to learn like completely new thing because I already know how to paint with wash, but it feels like a nice, different sort of turn into the landscapes things. More whimsical, a bit more stylized, and it feels more up my alley. So also, I don't know if this one is new. This hasn't have any reviews, so I'm not sure what to expect. I'm hoping it's good, but I'll tell you after I'm done with it. And then I found this one. This one is called Perspectives Made Fun, from Sketch to Watercolor. I was compelled by the image of this workshop. The style is like sort of traditional, but it has a bit of a cartoony, exaggerated style. That gave me a good vibe, a good feeling, something a bit more original than just normal urban sketching. I'm not that good at perspective, so I thought that maybe if he explains a few tricks about perspective and stuff, that might help me. Another thing that dragged me into open it and into choosing it in the end is that it has 55 reviews. I think the most reviews I've seen in any of these workshops. It has like a medium point of 5 stars. There are a few complaints about the video being blurry, so I'm not sure if that's gonna bother me or not. This is watercolors and it's sort of urban building sketching. I don't draw buildings often, so this is a bit of a challenge for me, and this is sort of to learn and see what comes out of this. I also want to thank etchrlab so much for giving me these workshops for free to try for you guys, because it seems like it's gonna be really fun to try this out. It's been a couple of weeks since I last recorded, but for you it doesn't matter. I'm trying the first workshop today. I'm starting with the mushroom one just because I want to start with something chill. I already opened the materials back there. There's 2 PDFs and there's the actual video. The actual video lasts like an hour and a half. There's a couple of PDFs with instructions. They just say the materials that are recommended for the workshop, and the other one also has some info if you want to join a Facebook group or something like that. I have here the materials. I have my etchrlab watercolor pan set. This is the 24 half pan set. You can see a review in my previous video, by the way. A spray bottle to wet the watercolors. It just makes it much easier on the brushes if you wet it beforehand. A syringe just to put water in the pan. Those are optional and those are really my materials. And then another recommended material is the cold press sketchbook or cold press paper from etchrlab. And as they sent me this cold press sketchbook that I've already tried in the previous video too. Oh look, this is the hot press. I got it wrong. This is the cold press. So this is the cold press sketchbook. I already tested it, as I said. Did this Halloween drawing that I'm doing in the previous video. Well, I review it. You can check it out there. There's a reference photo too that I already downloaded. Yeah, let's get to it. So this is being recorded after I finished the workshop, and I wanted to give you some of the thoughts that I came across after working on it. To be completely honest with you guys, I got a bit bored. And the workshop was good. I think it was really good, but it felt a bit more for beginner artists.
Hi everyone. So today we're going to be drawing a painting.
My problem mainly was that I think I paint pretty fast. I don't know if it's me or if it's just because I have a bit more experience than maybe the workshop was expected for. For example, she already started with the sketched out mushroom and I managed to catch up with her pretty quickly. And I can understand that she obviously goes a bit slower because she's recording, she's talking. There's also questions during the workshop, which I think are good because a lot of people need those type of tips and have these questions as they go. So that's good. I think the space is really good if you're starting out. Like maybe you haven't finished the piece by the time she's over, and that's completely fine as well. I'm just saying that for me, when we hit the half hour or a bit past the half hour, I was already on the point where I was almost finished. I was just waiting for the paints to dry to continue, and that was when I realized that I could actually put the workshop in a high velocity. So at first I put it in 1.25, and after like a couple of minutes I put it in 1.5, and I finished the workshop like that. For example, I finished like 5 minutes earlier still. She gave a lot of good tips about masking fluid and how to treat your brushes when you're using masking fluid, and that's really good. The problem is not the workshop, the problem is that it's not exactly at my level. I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing it or trying to sound superior. I'm just trying to say that if you have plenty of experience with watercolors, this can be slightly boring. What I think is they're really hard for these workshops to be perfect for everyone. Like obviously a beginner artist might take up to 3 hours to do what I did in like 40 minutes. So overall, I think this workshop is really nice. To be completely honest, the price of these workshops is really cheap. And if you're starting out and you don't know much about watercolors, you're gonna learn a lot of tips and a lot of ways to do things. It's also really good to observe how she does it, how she paints, to learn techniques and to learn like tips and tricks. I don't think I've learned anything new, to be completely honest with you. I'm not gonna take it as a waste of time because it's never a waste of time to do something like this. At least I have a mushroom painting that I didn't have before. I had a good painting session, and Etchr, if you're hearing this, just as a suggestion, because it seems like something that could work for a lot of people, I think it would be a nice idea if you also added some sort of subscription program. And I think I'm gonna end my rant here because I don't really have anything else to say. If you have any questions about my process or about the workshop that you think I can answer, let me know. I'm gonna just quickly end this with saying just a few tips that I think will work if you're looking for a workshop. So first of all, I will read reviews if I can. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there. I always have this feeling when I read reviews that seem shoddy to me or that seem won't apply to me. So if you read something and you feel like it won't apply to you, then don't use it. Like, not all people that review things will concede with you. Some people are just bad. Like, have you seen Amazon reviews? Some people are just crazily cruel with everything. Then obviously watch the trailer of the video if you can, and maybe find more info about the artist. Just check their Instagram or their social pages, see more of their artwork. This is not to say that you can't learn from them, but if you feel like you might be a step ahead of them in your level with whatever medium your workshop is about, you already have that as a little clue that they might not be able to teach you that much. I don't know, for example, I probably wouldn't have spent my money in a workshop like this just to chill and see it. Welcome to another weekend painting sesh. For me, it's been a couple of weeks, so that's why it's like, oh, hi again. To be completely honest, I'm not super duper motivated today, so it took me a while to figure out what of the next workshops I want to do next. The two I have left, I'm more excited about than the previous one. I'm not truly super motivated, but I've been putting this off for a bit. And today's Sunday, we're chilling, and I decided, let's sit down and do this. It's just an hour and I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy it. So I decided to go for the Perspectives Made Fun by Jeff Carter. He has so many good reviews saying he was a wonderful teacher that I'm pretty excited to see what he has to offer. I grabbed my 24 watercolor set from Etchr. And I also grabbed the Etchr Sketchbook, which has been my favorite so far. I love them both. The paper's quality is awesome in both, but I've been loving this one so far. And I've already used it for Inktober, as you can see, and I had a lot of fun making this. Basically, I'm using this one because he recommends cold press, and then he also recommends materials like pencils, erasers, stuff like that. So I have my trusty pencil case here with me. I don't usually sketch with these pencils when I'm working with watercolor, so I might just grab a cool erase pencil, which is this one. They basically disappear after you paint, and if you can see some of the lines, they look really nice because you can grab a color that fits with whatever you're going to do, and they just look really good. I love the cool erase pencils, by the way. I'm gonna start, see how this goes, and I'll get back to you in a bit.
On Netflix, you're probably quite familiar with. So what we're going to be doing today is a sketch, and what I mean by that is we're going to be, so the things for me that I'm looking for, I love these old chimneys, railings or drawer railings, because I kind of struggle with them a little bit, and they never really look authentic, so I might include them and I might not. You know, generally with this kind of house type building, the key line is going to be this one.
Okay, so while I wait for that to dry and so I can add the finishing touches later. I already finished the video. My feedback on this one is very different from the previous one. Like, I like the pace of this one better, and I actually followed the pace of this video pretty well, but you know, where you're waiting for the watercolors to dry, you can't do much as I expected. I like this workshop much better. It was really fun. It was a very new thing to do, and he's not really focusing on perspective on this video, by the way. It's just a way of deforming perspective while still keeping some of the real perspective of the building to make something fun. So a lot of this workshop is aimed at having some fun with a nice building and watercolors, and just let it do its thing, cartoonize it a bit so the personality of the building shines through, but it's not so realistic. And I really like it. I really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna like the final result. Like, right now it's in the muddy stage of all the colors are there but they're not dry, so you can't really see the colors there or know exactly how it's going to turn out. There's also a lot of shadows and details missing, and that's like the last finishing touches that usually give the personality to a drawing. So he started to say that if he had time, what he will do is a little sketch session where he will figure out what perspective, what changes he will do to a building. So he will try to experiment with different shapes, and he helped us identify the first few lines of the building that we should keep to keep the character of the building, and that was really nice. But of course he just has an hour, so a workshop like this I feel like has little time. It's literally like an hour and 4 minutes or something like that, while the other one, who was just painting a mushroom, who honestly can be done in 20 minutes, was an hour and a half. So there's a bit of a discrepancy between these two. Also, one of the things that I liked better about this one is that he wasn't really chatting to anyone. He was just explaining his process to us. The other one was nice too, but it also distracts a bit. It was formatted in a way that there was a moderator asking questions, and she was the one reading the questions from the people that were on the workshop. She was constantly asking the artist questions, which, as I said, is nice, but a lot of times when you're watching a video of a process, the best way to see it is just let the artist explain what she's doing. I will put this workshop into a higher level and the other one into a basic level. Also because, as I said, most of the questions that had been answered in that video were very beginner questions, which is completely fine if you're a beginner, but these are put in the intermediate section of learning. Also, she taught you a lot of basic stuff, and he just basically passed that through and taught it a bit more like you know what you're doing. I think the problem here is not exactly the workshops, is that they should be placed in different categories. I just wanted to compare the both of them so you can know why I liked one better than the other one, because maybe the other type of video is the one for you. Also, I have the impression that maybe this video is formatted this way because this man is much more experienced with teaching what he does. Then maybe he doesn't need as much guidance as someone that's just doing this for the first, second time. Then the moderator is there to help keeping things moving and such. That being said, I think these workshops are really great. Like, so far, this one especially, like this one was really good. It was a gem. I'm so glad I found it, because from seeing the gallery, I know there's going to be a lot of workshops that are really good, and you know, there's a ton of million artists out there, and obviously you're going to find some that are better for you than others, but I think that there's a lot of workshops in the catalog that were not for me. So I'm glad I found this one, because this one was so much fun. He also gave a lot of good tips about the building, giving it character, giving it realism, and when I say realism in this aspect is obviously making it, even though it's a cartoony building, feel like it's a building for real. I don't know, there was a lot of little touches that were really nice. I was busy most of the time, which is something that I like. I'm sure that there will people that will complain about this workshop being too fast, just as I complained of the other one being too slow, and people in the comments didn't seem to mind. There's obviously different levels of artists out here, but I really like the pace of this workshop because it keeps you engaged, it keeps you working with him, and if you're just falling behind, just pause the video for 5 minutes, catch up, and then come back. Like, it's just that easy because it's a video. You know, I'm not bored waiting for things to happen as I was in the previous one. Yeah, I think this is definitely a workshop I would recommend. Maybe the first one, not as much, unless you're very new to watercolors and very new to drawing anything at all, and you want to learn to draw mushrooms, then maybe I would. I will definitely recommend this one much faster than the other one. And I think Etchr is doing a really great job with this page. It has a lot of variety, and it seems like you will be able to find courses for you there, because there's just so many different things to approach. Also, I wanted to have a little update into the Etchr Studio Platform, because if you're seeing this continuously, I said in the previous review that it would be so nice if they offered this as a subscription instead of just paying for each workshop. But if you want to try more, then a subscription will be much more affordable. And they actually announced that they're working on that, and there's going to be an update where Etchr Studio is going to allow for subscriptions. So in my video that I recorded a week and a half ago, I said that, and they're just announced that this week, I believe. I think this is a huge pro, and it's going to be a huge pro to this platform as well. So the subscription is just better, because if you put on a video and you don't like it, or it wasn't what you think, you can just turn it off, move to another one. Hi there, welcome back again to another Sunday. We're doing the next workshop and last one, and I've already taken out my supplies. I'm just gonna quickly show you in a second. And this one is Big Ideas from Tiny Worlds with Wash. I'm excited about this one. I wasn't really feeling like wash today either. I like painting with wash, but I have to be in the mood, so I'm not sure how this is gonna go. I hope it goes well. These and the previous one that I did were the ones that I was mostly excited about. This one is one of the ones that seems also very stylized, sort of in the fantasy realm, which I love. So shall we start? Okay, so I have the workshop open there. The materials over here. I did a few adjustments from what they say. So they said mixed media paper, so I grabbed the hot press sketchbook, which is the one that has no grain, and the one that we also used for the mushroom. And then I grabbed my palette. I usually use these palettes for wash because they feel really practical. What I do is I don't discard the pages. I try to reuse them for a bit until they feel like they're worn out and they just given their bests. And the good thing with the wash is that you can reactivate it and sort of paint with it still, so that's why I keep the blotches of painting there. Okay, then brushes. I think they said a specific set. I just grabbed these three because they're sort of my trusty old brushes. These two I usually use all the time, especially for watercolor, and this one I use a lot for wash, so I decided to throw it in as well. Then I grabbed this. You might be thinking, why is a broken mug in here? So they said we needed something to make a circle, and this one was the closest I could find to 5 inches. I went around my kitchen with a ruler, yes. Some paper towels just in case. And then over here I have the wash that is recommended. So I just have Arteza wash, by the way. Whoops, that flew over. And they were recommending primary colors, but not specified. And then they say black. So I grabbed these three, and I added the white because honestly, you use a lot of white with wash too. So I added it just in case. And I picked these three because they seemed like the most primary. But to be completely honest with you guys, I also got out my tray of greens. This also has some extra ones because it's gonna be a sort of landscape, and it seems a bit unnecessary to mix greens when I have all of these.
Kathleen, hi, I'm Ruth, and I'm a gouache artist, maybe 5 inches or so. Just a cup or a small plate that you can draw around.
I really like the final result, except for the splatters, because she tried this splatter technique that I never like, by the way. First of all, the times I've used this, all my screen has gotten splatters on, my keyboard, everything, and it just feels, if it's white, then it's easy to clean, but for example, if it's a color and it gets on my wall, it feels very frustrating, so I don't like that technique. I used it because I was like, didn't work out that well. So that's the point that I don't like about this painting, but overall, I really like the result. I liked to follow her process along because a lot of things were different, and a lot of things I probably wouldn't have done. There were a lot of different things that I did in this landscape that turned out really well. Then there were also a lot of times that I went with my gut because I really didn't like the things that she was doing. I'm starting to feel like I'm super harsh on these workshops, and they're supposed to be easy and fun and for beginner, intermediate artists, but I feel like I'm an intermediate artist, not a beginner, and these start to be on the very easy side to me, like except the house one that I really like. Okay, so the main thing that bothered me about this workshop was the mixing. She was teaching these quick and fast methods to mix paint, and the colors were turning out completely dull. And I know she intended the colors to be dull because it's a night scene. Just because it's a night scene doesn't mean that you have to dull everything out and make it a gray. Her painting is so gray. In my taste, I don't like it. It looks lovely composition-wise, but color-wise, it looks so dull. And this is because she was always mixing black and white. Me too, and I didn't get these colors. What I think it was, she was mixing a lot of color that she didn't need to mix. So for example, you don't really need to mix that much black. Sometimes with a bit of black, it goes a long way and you don't muddy everything out. She was aware of this because she said it. She was like, oh, I know that a lot of people say you're not supposed to mix with black and white because you muddy the colors, but this is what I want. And it's like, yes, you want the colors to be muddy, but do you want the colors to be that muddy? Then again, I'm not sure if it's because of the colors she has. I directly used blues and greens for my mix because it felt much easier. Because what she's doing too is that she's ending up muddying a lot of the mixture. One of her main tips is to just mix yellow and black to create a dark muddy green. And yes, of course this creates a muddy green. Does that color have any interest in the painting? No, it's just a very ugly green. I don't know how to explain this. I just feel that her colors could have been much better. And yes, she's explaining this as, no, I'm doing this because I want to. But what I feel is that she has a lot of lacking in color mixing technique, which I do too. I'm not saying I'm the master. I'm just feeling that she's trying to make up for this, like saying, oh, I know that you're not supposed to, but I want that muddy mix. I don't know. I think you could do better because the landscape is so cute. You've had such a lovely idea. Okay, I just wanted to quickly share a couple of observations. First of all, I don't know why this is the picture reference that she gave us. I thought that maybe one of these would be the one that we draw, and it's not. Then another thing is the quality of this video is just super bad, and I know this is a recording. I actually put it much smaller because in the camera you don't catch it as much. But for example, this is supposed to be a blend of colors. It's just like in the camera it shows out much better, but when I see it down here, I don't even see three colors here. Like, yes, it's a blend, but the first time she put all of these, it looked out like the same color. It's just very blurry. A lot of times she's explaining certain parts and adding certain colors and you can't even see them because it's just a very blurry video. And it's supposed to be on 1.80 down there, but it's definitely not. It's not even in 720p, I can tell you that. I don't know, like I put it this small and it was still difficult to appreciate certain details. The mushroom one that was a bit blurry too, but not this much. And especially working with dark colors, I don't think this is a good look on this video. This is her final result, by the way. And this is my final result. Landscape-wise, like she gave a lot of tips that I love about painting the landscape and making it look nice and such. Color-wise, not so much. I'm feeling very torn with this course because I really wanted to love this course. It was one that I was really excited about. I was so disappointed by the color choices. Another thing, this time it seemed very slow to me too. Again, this is not an issue because you can turn the speed up or down. That's your choice. That's not a big issue, but it felt very slow. So a lot of times I was waiting for her to finish something. Like for example, she took so long to paint the trees. And if I had that reference photo, then maybe I could have done a bit more because later with that same color, she moved on to paint a tree on the other side. If I knew that, I could have started doing that because I will have the right reference photo. Like for example, this happened to me with the previous workshop. Like I had the reference photo, I had his work to reference from too, and I just took my own choices between the both. So that was another thing that I really didn't understand. I would have understood that they added that photo as a way of, here you have some more ideas if you want to try it out. I feel like there should be a reference photo for this. A lot of the choices that I didn't really love about this painting were conscious and where she was explaining them as she went. So overall, I understand that this is her style. This is what she's teaching. She's teaching to paint like she does, obviously, because that's how we know how to paint. We know how to paint like us. I just like much brighter colors. I think that night scenes don't need to be dull. And in fact, I've taken a course with Nathan Fox and he actually had very lively colors in night scenes and they were very convincing. And he's done environments for movies, really good ones, by the way. So just Google him out, Nathan Fox. He's awesome. And by the way, I don't want to discredit this teacher, but I think that Nathan Fox is much more experienced and a much better teacher overall, because he's just has experience teaching, has experience working, older and wiser also. I know that you can do night scenes without being so dull. Okay, so we're gonna finish the video. First, I want to say that I feel like I was pretty harsh. The workshops are really nice. They're catered more towards probably beginners. And this is why some of them might frustrate me a bit or might be a bit more boring to me. Maybe it's just the fact that I didn't choose the courses that were right to me in my sort of level, or just the right teachers, but that's really hard to know when you're in a platform like this and there's so many courses. It's just hard to know which ones are going to be good for you, so you just have to try and see. This is something that's going to be solved definitely with the subscription method that they're going to add, and then if you start a workshop like this and it's not working for you, you can just turn it off. Lastly, I also want to add that there would have been a big change of perspective if I had purchased these workshops. Like, they're not super expensive. I wouldn't probably think, oh my god, I wasted so much money. I would have felt like a waste of money for the first workshop, definitely, because I didn't learn anything. It was something that I could have done completely on my own and get the same result. Then on the second one, I wouldn't have felt like a loss of money at all. In fact, I would have felt like I gained more than the value that it has, because it was just such a good workshop. I think it was perfect. In fact, it was the shorter of these three and the one that I felt like needed more time. Then on the third one, I don't think I would have felt like a complete waste of money, because as I said, I'm happy with the result. I'm happy with how she explained things. I'm curious about maybe trying to do this on my own too, like doing little circles with landscapes that you sort of made up. The process of her painting, I liked. The only thing I didn't like much was the colors and the color mixing guides that she gave, but landscape-wise, she had a lot of tips that I already heard and she knew what she was doing. So I just wanted to quickly mention that, like how my perspective would have changed if I had bought them myself, because definitely will shift a bit, especially on the first one. Overall, will I recommend someone to go on etchrlab and see their workshops? Yes, because there's a lot of variety there. What I find is a bit hard to select. From what I've seen, I don't really trust their system now of beginner, intermediate, and advanced artists. They should try and see if there's a better way to classify them. Also, you can try a workshop for free with a link I will leave in the description, because they've given me that for you to try out, and that way you can also, you know, see if it's to your taste. Maybe you'll see this video and try a workshop and then say, this woman is so exaggerated. The workshops are perfectly fine, are perfect for my level. It's just like, you could go to a teacher that I love and not like it. And that's the beauty of it. That's why there's different types of teachers. So I think I'm going to finish on that. There's always something to learn. Workshops are good for you. Try the free one that you'll have with the link in my description and see for yourself. I'll leave this here. This has been a really long video. It's taken me a long time to film because I've done all the workshops and it's been like more than 6 hours. So I hope you liked it. I hope you found it useful. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more videos. And thank you so much. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!